I propose that now let's spend the rest 20 minutes, because we have to finish by 1:30 here Brussels time, to just to see the kind of the key takeaways. And first, I would like to ask if you, again, if we could repeat the morning exercise, and if there is something outstanding, surprising, important that now is in your mind after what we've been hearing and what we've been discussing. So what this could be. So the first impression is always the best. So please come up with your first impression. Olena has got one.
Yes, I think that the topic of the green funding is finally kind of kicked off, and there is such a strong wave of instruments, of knowledge, of analysis, that I was struck by the fact that on the national level, at least I can say from Ukraine, it's not visible. It's kind of too far. And I'm thinking like, okay, what can I do to bring this knowledge and skills closer to home? I've been talking to colleagues from the reform support team from the Ministry of Environment, and they asked me, why isn't the National Bank of Ukraine here? And I thought, I don't know. I never thought of, inviting the National Bank of Ukraine. So what struck me, and it's a conclusion for myself, that it would be good to find some channels how to bring all this excellent analytics, especially I'm looking forward to this OECD report that was highlighted today, closer to the people who deal with green financing on the national level. And if you can help each other, do it together, maybe through more workshops, maybe do something on the national level. But that's a challenge I put for myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Olena. I can always count on you. Thank you. Any other thoughts? And as I said, the first impression is always the best and the most genuine. So, and I prepared a few, and actually it's interesting because the first one that I had was actually this one, what you just, Olena, said. That's interesting. Maybe just to share a couple from my side, and actually Angela will have also her, so maybe we could collect, but certainly please still think of adding some. So certainly the one of the striking point that we've already repeated and heard and repeated is this, that there are those financial, or the ambitions are very strong, but also financial needs are very strong, and then the question is how to bridge the gap in the context that, I mean, very important support has been already provided and generated both from donors, from EU member states, and we've heard yesterday about those kind of large-scale financing flows that came over several years. And then we've seen also now the shift from this and more engagement of national ownership and then linking to the policies that are becoming ambitious. But certainly this figure of spending 20% of GDP on to meet the goals is stunning.
Average. It's not the same
Sure.
for every country.
It's I mean, but it is a figure. I mean, we also use the averages here. Certainly, we've heard also very interesting new developments. So moving from just direct lending to some of the more sophisticated instruments to help to reduce the cost of financing, and then the improvement of investment profiles of project owners. That was all very helpful. And then the question is how to connect those instruments within the project proponents. So that's an important one, and sadly here, in order to close the gap, that we still need to have clear investment financial programs and plans for medium and longer term, and also differentiate between large and small, because their needs are maybe different. Certainly, we've heard about now very interesting development on the capital markets. and especially in terms of green bonds. There are more sophisticated instruments that exist, and hopefully over time we'll be getting into those as well. But then, on the other hand, I think that we have to recognize that there is a very strong influence of macroeconomic reform or lack of, and governance, and then those market developments or the developments in terms of instruments for green economy cannot go probably faster than macroeconomic reform of capital markets. So, unfortunately, on this one, we probably need to wait for further development before then we use those instruments. And then certainly the region, many regions are influenced by geopolitical, macroeconomic, geopolitical events, but this region has been hit, I think, hard, especially with the Russia war of aggression against Ukraine that had a spillover effect on the economies or the neighbors and closer and further neighbors. So certainly we've been talking about those that need for policy legislative reform to incentivize market participation, better use of capital market instruments. So this is probably a kind of a finding that we've been hearing every time since many years. So this is nothing new, but I think new is that there are some answers to this question and some good examples. So I think that's so encouraging, and I think that we should really say the things are possible. So let's build on it and do more of them in this regard, and then move forward into taxonomies is to kind of trying to clarify what we mean by green investment, but also on the other hand to prevent this greenwashing and avoid propaganda and in this context. And then certainly the whole domestic reform of domestic taxation and charge system has been there for a long time, but we see very interesting and very good developments in this context, and encouraging and showing that things can happen, as we've heard from Ukraine, from Georgia, from Moldova. So that's important. And then the last from my list is that the money alone cannot solve the problem. And then I think it was Veronica who mentioned that you can bring money, but if there is no knowledge capacity building, the money may be wasted. So that's an important, I think, additionally in this context, and the demonstration showing those projects are being put on the ground. That's an important one. And certainly in the context of our region, the access to the European market is important. That's why we're, I think, talking about those issues, because Europe is already putting a lot of regulations, the demands, and then in order to access this market, the industries, the producers will need to stick to them. And so then there's a need to implement this rather than to bank against the wall with the products that do not meet certain standards. So those are thoughts from my side. I was wondering if there are any additions on your thoughts from yours. Okay, if not immediate, I would like to come now to the closing kind of element, and then on our list we have our colleague from Germany. Viviane is with us, so certainly we would like to hear some short statement from.
Thank you, Krzysztof. And unfortunately, Mr. Keinhorst could not attend this event, although he would have liked to, but he sends his greetings. I would like to thank on his behalf the OECD and the European Commission for organizing this event and for bringing this important topic to the table. I think we had the chance in the past 2 days to listen to very rich and comprehensive presentations. And for that, I would like to thank the speakers and the participants for joining, for the interesting questions raised. and for the discussion. As we mentioned several times, there is a green financing gap that needs to be breached. And I think it was very important to get an overview of some of the instruments that are already existing, of the opportunities that they bring to the countries, but also sometimes of the challenges that are associated with their implementation in the countries. And to overcome these challenges, and I believe the key is really to share these experiences between the countries. And in Germany, we are keen to support this, and we are very much looking forward to future discussions, to continue the discussions and to deepen the discussions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Viviane. And now I'll give the floor to the European Commission, and Angela will represent.
Thank you, Krzysztof. And in my capacity of program manager for EU for Environment program, let me start by actually thanking all participants here in the meeting room and also online for having joined us. It's a real pleasure. It's a little bit unusual to have such a big meeting after the period of pandemic and only virtual interaction. What I take from this meeting is the richness of knowledge sharing, but also of networking. And I wish we have more opportunities of having this kind of exchanges, and it's a pleasure to hear from countries. It's a pleasure to hear from IFIs, international partners, member states, from really world-class experts. I was really impressed by the quality of analysis and presentations, and it was a pleasure to be also represented by colleagues from the European Commission contributing in terms of substance. I always wish to think and also want other people to see that we at the European Commission are not only contributors with funding, we are also contributors with substance, and this element is really something that I would like to perpetuate in such exchanges. I do agree that the 20% investment need is something quite impressive, and the magnitude of the financing gap, and when you also think of affordability, is sometimes seems daunting. But I think we need to remind ourselves that these investments also bring opportunities, also bring benefits, and the fact of not investing, that the lack of policy action would have risks and impacts that are much higher than those that we discuss. And you know, the summer that we just went through really helped us to understand the magnitude of those impacts. Certainly, just public money is not enough, and we do need private sector to get more and more involved in addressing climate, but also biodiversity and pollution challenges. In this respect, of course, one obvious conclusion is that we need to continue creating enabling policy and regulatory frameworks, and we need to do it promptly. we see that the framework for green finance is evolving. Impressive examples from Kazakhstan, from Georgia, in Ukraine, the concept for the development of the green bond market was adopted the day before the start of Russia's war of aggression. So there has been interest in changing those regulatory frameworks, and we would like to support those changes. I'm very happy to say once again that together with the OECD and GIZ, we are going to continue this very useful work on green bonds, in particular the regulatory framework for green bonds, and a program will be launched soon to help Eastern partners in this regard. Of course, a very active involvement of the countries is going to help us together to be successful. Simultaneously, I think it will be important to continue working on phasing out fossil fuel subsidies and also implementing the recommendations that were provided in relation to environmental taxation. And another important takeaway is how rapidly the green bonds markets developed globally. It's really something impressive, and the growth has been exponential over the last 10 years. I've heard that demonstration issuances are something that can help. We will work with colleagues from the OECD and GIZ to support such issuances, and lessons learned from several countries, Armenia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, will really help us to go ahead with this. One general problem with green bonds, but also in blending and guarantees are the pipelines of projects, and we probably will need to look at those as well. In terms of risks, what was interesting to hear from Matthew in his presentation is that technological risks are not anymore actually risks, and there are many technologies that can respond to climate change mature, but we are impacted by many other risks. And let me recall that the European Union has established the European Fund for Sustainable Development Plus, which uses both blending and guarantees to help deal with such risks. Of course, an additional element is the need to improve the capacity of the governments themselves to manage investments. Well, I think in terms of lessons learned, takes aways, I will stop here. I would like to thank very much our colleagues from Germany and colleagues from the OECD, but also all speakers who contributed to this conference. In terms of logistics, it was also a pleasure to work with colleagues from Secoforma, who are helping us with Eastern Partnership events. We hope to be able to continue with such events. And at the very end, I would like to echo our director's message that partnerships are vital for speeding up the green transition. And we will be happy to work together with you and those here in the room, but also people online. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Angela. And it is 1:30, so in principle we should be finishing, but let me just take another 30 seconds from our side to really to thank all the participants or the speakers, panelists for their preparatory work and hard work during the presentations and answering the questions even harder. So thanks a lot for this. I would like to thank all the participants for really active discussion and contributions with ideas and challenges also. That's an important one to be challenged. I would like to and acknowledge the variety of participants from government, from the banking sector, from consultancies, from NGOs. I think this was also an important contribution. I would certainly like to invite thank the European Commission and Germany for continuous support over many years, and then do this conference. And then we would like to also thank our Secoforma colleagues from the excellent organization and help with the preparations of this meeting. And then finally, on our side, the OECD. I would like to thank all my colleagues, starting with Mathilde, who opened the meeting. Our deputy director, who said to me that she learned a lot, so that was a good good signal. But also Nelly, who has been really behind the scene of preparing this meeting, as well as Isabella and Mari, who has been helping on the logistical side, and also back colleagues in our office, Diane, Nasika, Juliet, Jonathan, Jan and Olympia. So all those people have been behind and very helpful in this endeavor. So I would like to thank you very much. Now we go to
interpreters.
And the interpreters. Yes, that's always an important one. This time we had even more opportunities. So thanks also to the interpreters. And finally, lunch is waiting for us. But I would like to remind that we are still having an afternoon session, which will be specifically devoted to discussing progress under the EU for Environment Green Economy project. So certainly many of you will stay, and then we'll continue this discussion. Thank you very much. Bon appetit.